noticed today, we're actually smoke shack adjacent, being as we are in the Pit Wizard fire pit. Why? Because it's Easter, and we're going to be celebrating the magic of Easter with some hot cross smash burgers. And to make those burgers, we need fire.
So, we've got some fillet steak trimmings left over from Valentine's Day. This was the fatty, sinewy stuff that was around the actual fillet itself. So rather than chuck it away, we froze it, and it will be perfect for these burgers. And you'll notice as well, I don't actually have a mincer. Not a problem. If you've got a good, sharp knife, you can mince any meat that you need to. You just need a little bit of patience, chop it down very, very small, and you'll be able to press it together and make burgers, meatballs, and whatever else you want to make. And then I'm just mixing this. This is about 3/4 pound of fillet steak trimmings, and that's being mixed with about 1.5 pounds of 80/20 minced chuck steak. Make sure you mix that really well together, but don't overwork it. I cannot stress that enough. You don't want to toughen up that meat. And then once you've done that, you want to weigh out 3 to 5 ounce smash burger balls. You don't have to be exactly accurate with every single one, but between 3 and 5 ounces is what you should be aiming for. And once you've rolled enough balls to entertain your party, you're ready to move on to chopping your firewood.
Okay, so that was a bit more graft than I expected, but we're just about ready to start the Easter fire.
Okay, and with the firewood chopped, it's time to build your fire. And you'll see I'm starting here in the centre, piling up that kindling, just using some wood wool as a lighter, because it's easy and effective and quite natural. It's just wood shavings soaked in resin or sap. And we'll start by building the fire up from the centre, making sure there's plenty of airflow in between every single piece of wood that we lay on top of one another. And then gradually, as that fire takes, we'll spread the coals out to take up most of the circumference of that fire pit. And you'll see here now the fire's going pretty well, but pay special attention to those flames, particularly the yellow and orange colours that you can see coming off of them right now, and I'll come back to that a bit later. Okay, and with that fire going pretty well, it's now time to put the grate over the top of that fire pit. I had to have this custom made by an ironmonger in the UK because the circumference of our fire pit is quite large. And this is just a cast iron grill. In the summer, I'll be doing flame grilled steaks, flame grilled burgers, bacon, sausages. I'll be doing it directly on this grill. But for this cook, because it's a smash burger cook and we don't want to be smashing the burgers through the holes in that grill there, we'll be putting a cast iron solid griddle on top of this. And we're just popping that cast iron griddle directly on top of that grill, and you can see it almost instantly starts smoking. It's getting some good heat going to it straight away, and it will hold that heat for a decent amount of time. And here you can see the smoke coming off the griddle, but also look at those flames. You notice the blue tinge around them now? That yellow and orange has turned blue when it gets closer to those coals. That blue flame means intense heat, and intense heat is exactly what we want for a good crust on these smash burgers. And we're just taking the temperature of the griddle now. Seems to be around the 450 to 550 mark, depending on where on the griddle we test. You will have hot spots, especially when you're cooking outside, so just bear that in mind when you're cooking your smash burgers.
Okay, so as you can probably see, we're using the Masterbuilt griddle, simply because I love my Masterbuilt. I want to keep it as a smoker. I don't like running the temperatures too high, trying to get the most life out of it as possible. So I use the griddle on the fire pit. And as you've seen, we're running at about 600 at some points, 500 at the other. I'll show you the setup here. And I've just re-seasoned that griddle as well. But you can see those coals are raging hot at the moment. They're going to hold that heat for a while. And then we'll be making some hot cross smash burgers.
Okay, and let's get these burger balls on the griddle. Once they're down in this form, you're not under any time pressure. You can leave them for a couple of minutes, 3-4 minutes even. All they're going to do is develop a crust, but because of their spherical shape, nothing's going to dry out. But once you smash those burgers, you want to smash for exactly 10 seconds, not 8 seconds, not 12 seconds, 10 seconds. And then the cooking really starts. Once they're smashed, you just want to leave them for a minute, maybe a minute and a half before you flip. Just throwing down some SPG seasoning there. These burgers don't need anything else apart from that. Plenty of flavour. And now throwing down our hot cross buns as well, which are obviously critical to this hot cross smash burger recipe. And we're just giving them a flip here. It's quite expected that they'll stick a little bit. Don't worry about that. You've still got plenty of crust on there. And once they're flipped, it's down with some good American cheese, and it has to be American cheese in my opinion. I've tried Swiss, I've tried provolone. You can't beat American cheese singles on a smash burger. And as I said about those hot spots earlier, don't be afraid to move things around. If you want a bit more toast on your bun, move them over to wherever the griddle is hottest, as I have just there. And flipping the next set of burgers, down with some more cheese. Then moving things together so we can get those burgers covered. They're going to steam for 10 to 30 seconds just to get that cheese melted and make sure everything is lovely and cooked through. Stacked up, get them on the plate. Look at that. They look fantastic, and I can tell you they smell absolutely wonderful when they were cooking.
So that was hot cross smash burgers. Nothing left to say except let's give them a taste. Cheers. Salty, fatty burgers meets fruity, sweet, bready buns. I mean, what's not to like about that? That is absolutely delicious. It does what the donut burger does, but it does it again in a little bit more of a grown-up way, a little bit more sophisticated. That fruit brings more than just a kind of linear sweetness. It brings other dimensions to the flavour that work really well with that salty beef, with the garlic flavours, with just a little bit of heat from the pepper as well. That's fantastic. You saw probably that we lost a little bit of crust on the griddle there. I think that may be to do with the griddle losing heat a bit more quickly than we anticipated it would. However, it's not really affected the overall eating experience because we have still got plenty of crust on that smash burger. But on top of that, we've got a well-structured hot cross bun, which gets a lot crispier when it's toasted than even a brioche or even a pretzel, and certainly more than a donut. So any crust we might have been missing from that burger has been added to from that hot cross bun. And as I said, added with all the complex flavour additions that you get from that hot cross bun, this is a magic burger. This is a win-win. This is a 10 out of 10. The only thing left to do that might elevate it even further, because as you may have noticed, this is completely unadulterated. Smash burgers, cheese, bun. That's it, because we wanted to taste what the bun does to the burger. You could add onions to this, you could add ketchup, all kinds of condiments, all kinds of other additions, but we wanted to taste it unadulterated to start with, to give a true impression as to what it tasted like. But now we know it tastes great, why not try it with some of this Easter egg barbecue sauce that we made last week. If you've not seen that video yet, check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. This is a fantastic barbecue sauce, and I think it's going to pair really well with this burger. And it fits the theme. It's Easter, isn't it? So let's give it a try. Do apologise for the dog barking in the background. We're a town of animal lovers. What can I say?
Dora.
Thanks, Mrs. Bitwizard. So, just add a little bit of that Easter egg barbecue sauce, and you do want to make this sauce. Okay, once again, cheers. It is just magical. It really makes me smile because it takes me back to being a child when I had that kind of wonderment about food, about how do all these ingredients come together to make these unique flavours that taste nothing like their original parts. It's the same here. You've got beef, you've got cheese, you've got a fruity bread bun, you've got this chocolate barbecue sauce, and yet when they all come together, they make something incredibly different from the sum of their parts and incredibly delicious. That barbecue sauce plays with the cheese, it plays well with the fruits in the bun. Obviously it works really well with the beef as well, and the fats and the salts. It just elevates it to another level. My advice, make both of these. They are magical dishes. They're perfect for Easter. In fact, they're perfect for any time of year because they're that delicious. I think that will about do us for this cook. Thank you very much for watching and sharing the magic with us. My name's Billy Buick. This is the Pit Wizard Smoke Shack. Please remember to like and subscribe. Share this video far and wide. Share the magic with everyone you know, and hit that notification bell to make sure you don't miss any more magic that we're conjuring in the Smoke Shack. And we'll see you next time. Not a big deal. There's still plenty of crust on that burger, and there's plenty of... That will be Nimue given her seal of approval. It's got garlic in it. Alliums are not good for cats. Alliums not good for cats. I don't make the rules. Anyway, sorry about that. Yeah, so
I've lost my place.